way, the way knows, the way knows, the way knows the way. You don't have to know the way knows the way. You don't have to plan the way, trust the way, feel your way, the way knows, the way knows, the way knows the way. You don't have to know the way knows the way. You don't have to plan the way, trust the way, feel your way, the way knows, the way knows, the way knows the way. You don't have to know the way knows the way. You don't have to plan the way, trust the way, feel your way, the way knows, the way knows, the way knows the way. Over like that. There we go. Good morning. And welcome to your neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Sunday service. Thank you for joining us, whether you're here in person or joining us via Zoom or watching a recording of us. If you are joining us for the first time, know that you are welcome here, as is everyone seeking a spiritual community. Our mission at Neighborhood is to empower spiritual growth and shared action for the care of our world. My name is Allison Kabayama, and I will be your service weaver this morning. For those of us in person, please remember to be aware of the various needs and boundaries of each other when we are gathered together, honoring our mask-required section, keeping aisles clear for mobility devices, maybe the noises that may come from young ones or all of us. We ask you not to take photos unless you have permission. We are a community of many ages and abilities, which means we embrace whatever little noises or distractions come with being together. And we are committed to a love that makes space for all. If you have a phone or other device, now would be a good time to silence it. I invite you to do that. Please know that our services usually last around 90 minutes. So if there's anything you need to make yourself more comfortable in the space, sit, stand, stretch, get a glass of water, fidget, pace, please feel free to do so at any point. That includes going into our wiggle room if it's unlocked. I'm not sure. It is, yes. Where there are some toys and a comfy couch, and you can hear us in there. We also have our activity table, which has art supplies and a kinetic sandbox. If you are new here and you whoops, keep in touch. I brought my glass of water at the same time. As the newcomer card, you can fill it out and put it into our donation basket. And that way you'll get on our mailing list and you'll get our announcements and know what is going on throughout the week, not just on Sundays. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your relationship to belief, spirituality, or this community, we are glad you are here today. Before we continue, I'd like to ask everyone here to take a moment to ground ourselves in the present moment. Let's make ourselves comfortable and take a couple of deep breaths. And let the air release slowly and gently. And again. Now how about a breath in and let it out on a sigh. And again. Good. Thank you. Coming up will be our time to greet your neighbors. If you like, you can use a new or different salute. This is a Wing Chun Kung Fu salute, Bao Quan Li, and it signifies putting self-control before the use of force. So you see people sometimes doing this type of bow, like that. And the balance of power and humility, it represents the right fist symbolizes strength, and the left open palm, wisdom, respect, and the civic virtue of peace. After you've greeted a few neighbors, perhaps you might turn to the camera on the back wall and offer a greeting to those joining us virtually, whether in the presence on Zoom or in the future via recording. You'll hear a chime to signal the end of greeting time. Now, please take a moment to greet the neighbors around you. There'll be time after, during coffee time, we'll carry on. In today's land recognition, I'd like to share that I'm a descendant of Japanese, German, English, Dutch, and Welsh ancestors who were uninvited settlers on Turtle Island. I stand on the land of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, covered under Treaty Number 13, known as the Toronto Purchase, which was signed on August the 1st, 1805. It is commonly acknowledged that much was given up by the original stewards of this land, and very little was provided in return. Even with the signing of the most recent October 29th, 2010 resolution of an outstanding dispute tied to the history of Toronto by the Honorable John Duncan, Minister of Indian Affairs and Northern Development, and Chief Brian Laforme, and community members, our obligations remain far from over. To those whose ancestors have lived on, honored, and cared for Turtle Island for over 15,000 years. I am truly grateful to be able to live, work, love, worship, learn, and play on this land. I'm grateful to the trees, sky, and all the life that survived during the cold season, sometimes under Mother Earth's snow blanket, and which are emerging and chirping when it's warmer and the sun is on them. I'm grateful especially for the returning of warmth and all the signs of life showing up to lift my spirits. I am also grateful for the resilience, warmth, humor, and kindness shown to me and my nuclear family by our Mohawk relations in Oka, properly referred to as Satake. Without the help and the teachings shared, the original settlers would surely never have survived. I affirm and promote the significant learning and work that remains to be done. May it enable the sharing of truth, the possibility of healing, as well as ultimately and hopefully meaningful reconciliation with all Indigenous peoples, including Métis and Inuit, living both afar and those who continue to live in this urban area, which has come to be known as Toronto. I invite you to join me in reading our invocation. Let us cast the circle of a sacred space here. Let us cast the circle of a cherished space here. A space of safety, a place of forgiveness, a place of love. If we want the world to change, we must craft in our space and in ourselves the seeds that grow a different kind of life, a life of graciousness, of creative intelligence, a place of life and spirit for ourselves and our families. Today I invite Sean Thomas to come forward and light our chalice. You will see that Sean is taking the light from the children's flame. This practice focuses our attention on our children and youth who are vital parts of our community. May we also be reminded that our own inner child is worthy of attention, care, and nurture, and needs to be engaged in playful exploration. Let's sing our chalice lighting song. We light this chalice to remember, to light the fire within our own hearts.
Song for you this morning, and you know, I didn't grow up with a Bible around or a Quran or anything around, but I grew up with the Tao around, and so this is something rather familiar in at least its outlines, and I tried to write this in a natural way. I used the chords that I had been playing for our joys and concerns, and kind of just let it flow. So this is what came out. In this world that we know, do we follow with the flow? Is it solace that we find when we loosen heart and mind? Do we see the spirit tree where we say, this is the way? In the water soft and slow, stone and current learn to flow, not by effort, not by will, but by being and being still. Understand our spirit land, where we stand is the way. There's a light that shines. Just give in when it reminds. Following the hidden lines. Following those hidden lines. In this world that we know, do we follow with the flow? Is it wisdom that we find when we loosen heart and mind? Do we see our spirit tree? Understand the hinterland? Do we say this is the way?
Thank you, Sean and Laura. Our theme for March is our second UU principle, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. And today's focus is on Taoism. My relation to Taoism, or the Way, began when I was introduced to the I Ching in my early 20s. I Ching, the Book of Change, contains several layers of text and has been given numerous layers of interpretation for well over 2,000 years. But what I came to understand, though, was that life was not fixed and was in ever-changing states. The way of the universe was varied, but we could try to understand where we were in the present moment. I consulted with the I Ching when I had questions about life and decisions and attitudes I might consider. Later, I furthered my studies in martial arts and engaged in Jeet Kune Do, which is the system of concepts and philosophies pioneered by Bruce Lee and Dan Inosanto. And I encountered other approaches to the way of understanding it. I studied with my older brother, Makoto Kabayama, who had studied extensively with Inosanto, and I had the good fortune to be able to participate in seminar with him, Makoto, and other JKD practitioners. What I learned was sensitivity to energy, mine, and how it could be channeled, and how others' energy could be sensed and met or avoided altogether. I embraced elemental energy and flow, i.e. the characteristics of fire versus earth, versus wind, versus water. I understood yin and yang, how supposed opposites cannot exist without the other, that the earth and we are half in the light and half in the dark, and can be in balance when we understand this ever-present reality. In my late 20s, I also learned more about energy and life when my own capacity lessened due to chronic and debilitating health issues. For many years, I strove to find the cure, the right healing or treatment that would restore me to my former state of being. I was in a state of denial and did not want to accept change. Then in my mid-30s, when Neighborhood was meeting at Corpus Christi Public School, I learned a practice of Qigong, from a Qigong teacher who attended and offered to teach a free series of classes after service each Sunday. Bonus. Eventually, I developed the concept of work easy, wherein I matched certain tasks to how I responded to the prospect of engaging in them. There might be a time to slog, but why not choose joy? The resulting buoyancy might enable a resulting capacity to meet a task which had seemed too challenging before. I believe that we are all energy bodies, and energy meridians exist in our bodies, and the understanding of which can allow one the power to harm or to heal. The power of water. Think erosion from steady drips of water over time can erode stone. There's so much to learn from the way and many approaches. I'm grateful that Peter will be sharing with us from his own vast experience and knowledge of this world religion. I also healed from my Unitarian upbringing, wherein I had acquired the sense that I was expected to fix all the world's isms. I now feel we can do the needful in tandem or together or in shifts, however energy allows. This quote from Benjamin Hoff's The Tao of Pooh captures some of what I believe. We don't need to shift our responsibilities onto the shoulders of some deified spiritual Superman, or sit around and wait for fate to come knocking at the door. We simply need to believe in the power that's within us and use it. When we do that and stop imitating others and competing against them, things begin to work for us. So now we have a song that the congregation can join in. I invite Ella and Wendy to come back up. This is called The River is Flowing, and there's so many different melodies to it, but I'm going to do the one that I know first learned. So hopefully there are gestures, and I'm going to teach the gestures and the words first, and then we'll sing it that way, and then we'll do it together in unison, and it'll be around, actually. So this half will start with me, and then Ella and Wendy will take this other half. But please rise and probably give you more space to move. So it starts, the river, with the right hand, the river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother Earth, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother Earth, carry me down to the sea. So it goes. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother Earth, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother Earth, carry me down to the sea. Once more in unison. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother Earth, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother Earth, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother Earth, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother Earth, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing,
down to the sea. Mother Earth, carry me, your child I will always be. Mother Earth, carry me down to the sea.
I'll invite Rob Corbett to come forward to share the time for all ages. Here, I'll give you the microphone.
Thank you, Allison. I'd like to invite the young at heart, or anyone else, quite frankly, who'd like to come up a little closer. That would be awesome. Or, everyone's looking very comfortable, you can hang where you are. That works too. I realized on my way in, I've been waiting 1.5 years to sit on the toadstool. And I'm realizing just now I probably could have sat on the toadstool anytime I wanted to. The tale, we'll help you up later. The tale of the sun and the shadow. One of the ways of seeing the yin and yang symbol is that the light part, the yang, is the light of the sun, while the yin, the dark part, is the night or shadow. Once, there was a young yang who was very proud. He was the sun. He loved the way he made the world bright, how he made the flowers grow, and how everyone woke to greet him. I am the best, Yang said. I am clarity. I am heat. I am life itself. That shadow over there, yin, it's just a dark nothingness. The world would be better if it were just me all the time. So the sun decided to shine with all his might. He stayed in the sky for days, then weeks. He chased away every shadow and every cool breeze. At first, the people were happy, but soon the flowers began to droop. The ground became cracked and thirsty, and people were exhausted because they couldn't find the quiet needed to sleep. The world was burning up from too much yang goodness. Then a wise old turtle crawled out from the deep, cool cave, a place where yin lived. The turtle looked at the sun and said, "You are very bright, Yang, but without the shadow, your light is a fire. Without night, your day is a burden." The sun looked down and realized that because there was no shadow, there was no depth. Everything looked flat. He couldn't see the stars. He couldn't see the beauty of the moon. So Yang stepped back, and he allowed yin to rise. The shadows spread across the land like a cool blanket. The dew returned. The people dreamt. The earth drank the coolness and prepared itself to grow again. The sun realized he wasn't the winner. He was a partner. He saw that yin wasn't the enemy. Yin was his rest. From then on, they moved in a circle. When the sun got too hot, the shadow offered a breeze. When the night got too cold, the sun offered a spark. They realized that neither of them was the way. The way was the dance between them. And as they danced, each taking the lead from time to time, they found those magical times of twilight and dusk where yang and yin blended. They were beautiful. Perhaps even more beautiful than yin and yang were separately. We often treat our lives like the proud sun, or we hide in the dark shadows. We think we should be productive and never lazy. We think we should always be happy and never sad. But Taoism reminds us that if we are on all the time, we would simply burn out. We aren't choosing between a right and a wrong. We are honoring a cycle that keeps all of us whole. The story was written by our own Peter Marmorek, who has also provided Taoist. So, if anyone would like a little Taoist medallion to remind you that the dance is what matters, come on up. Otherwise, I will pass it over to Kat. Oh, thank you.
Bum, bum. Children grow in the spirit. Children grow in the spirit. Grow in spirit, children. Grow in spirit, children. Grow in spirit, grow in spirit, grow in spirit, children.
Good morning, everyone. I was going to begin, as I have with each of my talks about the world's wisdom traditions, by confessing my inadequacy to the topic at hand. But this time, the tradition itself commands it. Taoism's founding text, the Lao Tze, makes that clear in its opening lines. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. So let me tell you about Taoism, knowing in advance that I will fall short. And perhaps that's the most Taoist opening possible. Taoism was born in China around 500 years before the Common Era, and its founder's story could not be more different than those of other religious figures. Jesus gathered disciples. Buddha pulled in huge crowds. Muhammad started an empire. Lao Tze did none of these things. Lao Tze was the keeper of the archives at the emperor's palace around 500 BCE. Late in his life, he resigned this position and went west towards Tibet, riding a water buffalo. Before leaving China forever, he rested at the home of a border guard who recognized that this was a man of wisdom. The guard begged him, "Before you go, write down what you know. Leave us with something." Lao Tze seemed indifferent to the idea, but the next morning when the guard woke up, Lao Tze had left, and on the table was a small text that we know as the Tao Te Ching, the Book of the Way. And that's the story. The book itself is very slight, 81 short chapters. You could read the words in half an hour, and it's the second most translated book in the world. And after the service is over, these two copies, one a traditional translation and one by my beloved Ursula Le Guin, will be in the neighborhood library for you to borrow and look at. And then Lao Tze, after writing the book, vanished. No followers, no miracles recorded, just a water buffalo disappearing into the mountain and 81 poems left behind. That restraint, that deliberate smallness is a very Taoist thing. The Tao means simply the way, and the core of the Tao Te Ching's message is this: the way to live is to be like water, finding strength through softness. A recurrent image is that of water, the softest substance in the world, which can wear away the hardest rock. The Taoist concept of Wu Wei, often translated as effortless action or non-striving, is rooted in this image. The river doesn't try to reach the sea. It simply flows. It simply finds the path of least resistance, going around obstacles rather than breaking through them, and it always arrives at the ocean. Lao Tze wrote, "A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent upon arriving. A good artist lets their intuition leave them wherever it wants. A good scientist has freed himself of concepts and keeps his mind open to what is. Thus, the master is available to all people and doesn't reject anyone. He's ready to use all situations. Part 2, the man who dreamt he was a butterfly. About 100 years after Lao Tze, a writer named Zhu took up the tradition and spread it through stories. He was to Taoism roughly what St. Paul is to Christianity. He wasn't the originator, but he was the great popularizer, the voice that carried the teaching to the world. Lao Tze is spare and oracular. Lao Tzu is playful, almost mischievous, which is why he's always been a favorite religious teacher of mine. He writes how he once dreamed he was a butterfly floating through summer meadows, flitting here and there. And after he woke up, he was never quite sure if he was Cheng Tzu, who had dreamt he was a butterfly, or if he was a butterfly, dreaming he was Cheng Tzu. He left the question open. That's the point. His most famous story goes like this. A farmer had one horse, that was his main possession, which ran away at night after being spooked by a thunderstorm. The neighbors came by the next day to offer their sympathy and say how terrible it was that the horse had run away. And the farmer just shrugged and said, maybe. The next day, the escaped horse, came back, leading 7 wild horses. So the farmer now had 8 horses instead of 1. And the neighbors all came by to congratulate him and say how great this was. The farmer just shrugged his shoulders and said, maybe. The day after that, the farmer's son was trying to break in one of the wild horses and got thrown, and his leg was broken, so he couldn't move. And the neighbors came by and commiserated, and the farmer just said, maybe. But the day after that, the Chinese army came through looking for every young person they could take away to serve in the army, and they didn't take the farmer's son because he had a broken leg. And when the neighbors came by and congratulated the farmer on his luck, the farmer just said maybe. The Tao asks us to hold our judgments lightly, not because nothing matters, but because we almost never have the whole picture. The event itself is just an event. The story we tell, this is a disaster, this is a blessing, is up to us. It closes us off from what happens next. I thought of this Taoist story this winter when we had the big snowfall, because I saw all the snow coming down, and having grown up in Quebec, I was so happy to see all the snow and thought how great it was. And then I realized I had to shovel it all, and I thought how terrible it was. So I got out there, and the snow was really light, and I thought how great that was, that it was light. But then the wind was blowing, and as fast as I was shoveling, the snow would come back, and I thought how terrible it was. It was just snow. It just was. My running commentary on it was entirely my own invention. Beyond the Binary, Part 3, the dance of yin and yang. This brings us to Taoism's most recognizable gift to the world, the yin-yang symbol. The dark half is yin, with attributes of cool, quiet, dark, receptive, and earth energy. The light side, yang, has attributes of heat, action, the sky, creative energy. But the most important visual element is the small dot of the opposite color. That indicates that nothing is ever 100% one thing. Every yin is always changing into a yang, as every yang changes into a yin. This is the heart of Taoist wisdom. Nothing is ever fully one thing. Every strength carries the seed of a weakness. Every crisis contains an opportunity. Every noon always holds within it the beginning of the evening. They're not opposing forces, but phases of the same Tao. Neither yin nor yang is ever good or bad, although they might be inappropriate for that particular moment. Taoism teaches that good and bad are often just labels we project onto natural cycles. as I did with the snow. Is a downward slope bad? Not if you're skiing. Is darkness bad? Not if you're trying to get to sleep. As the Tao Te Ching says, when people see some things as beautiful, others become ugly. When people see some things as good, others become bad. Not projecting labels is important. Consider a battery powering a lamp. You need both the positive and the negative to make the light glow. If you decide you only want one of them and disconnect the other, the light goes out. Our children's story this morning told it beautifully. The proud sun who shone without ceasing until the flowers wilted, the ground cracked, and the people couldn't sleep. It's only when he allowed the shadow to return that the earth could drink and growth could begin again. He wasn't the winner, he was a partner. And the way is not the way of the sun or the way of the shadow. The way is the dance between them. Taoism, at its foundation, is a profoundly non-binary tradition. Its response to anyone who declares themselves entirely one thing, all strength, all certainty, all light, all male, all female, would be gentle, loving concern. You've lost touch with your other half, and without it, you'll eventually burn out, break, or go dark. The I Ching, which Allison mentioned, the Chinese Book of Changes, is an oracle built entirely on this insight. Its wisdom is not in saying, this is the right answer. Its wisdom is saying, here is where you are in the pattern, and the pattern is always changing. Sometimes you must exert yourself fully. Sometimes it's a time to wait for things to change. The art is knowing the moment you're in. And I can't end without further honoring the Tao of Pooh, the marvelous book by Benjamin Hoff that Allison cited. It is, as its title suggested, a rereading of Winnie the Pooh, using Pooh as the perfect Taoist character. Pooh doesn't plan, he doesn't achieve, he doesn't optimize. He wanders, he notices, he's present to whatever the moment brings, and he is, in his unhurried way, deeply content. A. Milne, perhaps without knowing it, gave us one of the great Taoist parables. The Tao of Pooh quotes this passage. "Rabbit's clever," said Pooh thoughtfully. "Yes," said Piglet, "Rabbit's clever. And he has brain." "Yes," said Piglet, "Rabbit has brain." There was a long silence. "I suppose," said Pooh, "that's why he never understands anything." As the gathering music this morning said, or sang, you don't have to know the way knows the way. You don't have to plan the way, trust the way, feel your way. The way knows the way. And the Tao Te Ching ends as it began, with water. There's a slide. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. In dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. When you're content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you. We live in a world that rewards the proud son, the loudest voice, the most optimized schedule, the most decisive plan. Taoism asks us to consider the water instead, soft, unhurried, content with low places, wearing away stone not through force, but through faithful, patient presence. As Sean sang, where you stand is the way. Be like water, just flow. and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Peter. It's lovely. So now we have time for meditation or prayer. I will share some guided phrases from a Qigong meditation. You are invited to stand for this brief meditation, or you can also assume an erect posture while sitting in your chair. There will be silence at the guided part, and then there will be a little bit of chant that will bring us back. Stand erect, lengthening your spine as if a string is pulling the top of the head. The entire body is relaxed, hollow chest. Take a deep breath and relax. Stomach relaxed, feet together. Qi flows through the entire body, the whole body, when the feet are together. It's very good for the kidney. We look forward, focus on the horizon, close eyes or soften a gaze. Touch sky into earth. Imagine your head reaches the blue sky, touches the blue sky. Feet stand deeply into the earth. Relax body, expand mind. The front of the body, the back, left, right, expanding to the horizon. In infinity, you are now occupying the whole universe. Serene mind, good attitude. Your mind is as calm as still waters, reflecting yourself. No distracting thoughts. Think blue sky, think body, feeling relieved. Entire body is harmonized with Qi. Flow We're going to shift into our offertory. It's time for offering and sharing of ourselves as part of every faith community. Volunteer efforts are essential, and our rent and salaries are paid, and programs created by your contributions, our contributions. The greeters will pass the baskets for those who choose to make contributions that way. And this congregation is a living entity. And like all living things, it must have nurture and sustenance. As we contribute to the life of our community, we affirm our lives within it. Even small drips of water make a difference. If you have found love and acceptance here, if you have found home here, if you have known kindred spirits here, let this offering be a token of gratitude for our common life as we build the common good. And greeters, please bring the baskets over here when the money is collected. And I want to thank in advance to each of you. Jillian is going to share our life of the community while the baskets are being circulated.
Before I start, I'd like to invite Buoyant Lauren up to make an announcement that isn't appearing on our... Oh, Lauren is being a greeter, passing the baskets today as well, but can you do double duty? All right, come on up, Lauren. Thank you.
So I don't know if you noticed that the art has been changed. We have Charles Wakefield's landscapes on one side, and we have Doris Purchase's works that are actually landscapes as well. And both of those artists are going to be here at coffee time, and I really encourage you to have a conversation with them. If you do not have the ability to get up a set of creaky stairs, I'm going to mention that there are 2 bird viewing binoculars, and so that at least you can take a closer look that way, and there will be a video on, and Gordon is holding them up because he's so amazing. And there will be a video on Facebook to see a closer view of them. But I do encourage you to check it out. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. All right, before we start, I just want to let you know, some of you are new, we go through these pretty quickly, but they are appearing on our screen in the cappuccino room on a continuous reel. So if you miss something that I go through too quickly over, please have a look at the screen. You'll get that information. So let us commence. So this April, we're doing a really cool thing. We're having a family choir during our service on April 12th, and we're doing rehearsals for that the next 2 Mondays from 7 to 8. So all are welcome, all ages. Please feel free to just show up here on Monday, the 30th and the 6th at 7. There's a Good Friday walk on April 3rd, starting at St. Barnabas Anglican Church and ending at Riverdale Presbyterian Church. All are welcome. Next. The greeters, the pizza, the dancing pizza always gets me. It's really fun. Presumably there will be dancing pizza at this greeters pizza party, 6:30 on April 1st. If you're curious about becoming a greeter, or if you're a greeter now, please feel free to attend. And open mic, talent show, April 4th, 7:30 till around 9. We do this on a monthly basis, and everyone is invited to attend, whether you feel you have a talent that you'd like to express, or whether you just like to be a non-performing audience member. Please talk to Allison if you'd like to have more information. We are having a volunteer appreciation luncheon on Saturday the 11th. All are welcome, and the doors are open at noon. Volunteers are not going to be making the meal this time. It's going to be catered by Lemon and Allspice. Please feel free to come, even if you, as Reverend Sally said last week, if you've done 1 hour of volunteering, you are welcome to attend. DJC and Nuke present No Other Land here on Saturday, April 11th at 7 p.m. And donations will be collected for, forgive me if I'm not saying it right, Masafuriata, which is what the film is about. and childcare will be available. Are you ready to join Nuke as a member? On Sunday service, April 12th, we will include a new member joining ceremony. And if you'd like to know more about becoming a member, if you have some questions, there will be an in-depth introduction to what Nuke membership means, pathway to membership on Saturday, the 25th of April. Circle music again, something that we enjoy on a regular basis. Well, the next one will be held on April 12th from 2 to 4. Again, all are welcome. All our events are open for all. And you do not have to know how to sing or have any rhythm to be able to take part, and it is a lot of fun. So feel free to learn more. Suzanne Mazars is on, she'll be back next week, perhaps, and you can ask her more there then, or write to her if you wish. And next Sunday, April 5th, the message will be Coming Back to Life, a UU Easter Sunday. Our speaker will be our Reverend Sally Fritchie. Music provided by Suzanne and friends. Service weaver will be Peter Marmorek, up again. My goodness. And the Rainbow Room, Time for All Ages theme will be Giving Back.
Oh. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. So now we have a closing song for everyone. It's called Gift of Faith. So the words are up. Sean's going to play for us. And I invite, yes, Wendy and Ella back up. I have this gift of faith. I will return to dust. But one thing I have learned, when all else fails, trust, life goes on. The dust will be reborn. The dance of life goes on. We may not be here long, but we have joined the song. Life goes on. I have this gift of faith. I will return to dust. But one thing I have learned, when all else fails, trust, life goes on. The dust will be reborn. The dance of life goes on. We may not be here long, but we have joined the song. Life goes on. One more time. I have this gift of faith. I will return to dust. But one thing I have learned, when all else fails, trust, life goes on. The dust will be reborn. The dance of life goes on. We may not be here long, but we have joined the song. Life goes on. Oh, I invite Sean to come forward and extinguish our chalice as we sing another. It's right up at the top. Although our chalice has been darkened, we hold the fire within our own hearts. Please take your neighbor's hand or touch their shoulder or touch elbows, connecting physically as we have spiritually. Today I leave you, thank you. Today I leave you with this blessing, which is another quote from Benjamin Huff's The Tao of Pooh. Wisdom, happiness, and courage are not waiting somewhere out beyond sight at the end of a straight line. They're part of a continuous cycle that begins right here. They're not only the ending, but the beginning as well. The circle is now open until we meet again. Go like water.